Welcome to the 2010 UC Davis Graduate School of Management's Dean's Fall Welcome. I'm Anya Reed. I'm a very proud alum of the Graduate School of Management, class of '04, and also the Assistant Dean for External Relations and Development. We're very pleased to see all of you here today. In just a moment, we'll hear briefly from the Dean, and we'll also have the presentation of the 2010 Dean's Distinguished Service Award. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce Steve Currall. Steve Currall is a professor of management and dean of the UC Davis Graduate School of Management. He is a very accomplished behavioral scientist. He has conducted research and taught for 20 years on the psychology of the workplace, relating to topics such as innovation, emerging technologies, negotiation, and corporate governance. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the stage Dean Steve Currall.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's great to see you. Thank you very much for joining us today with this big event. I'm absolutely thrilled that you're here with us today for the inaugural State of the School remarks. So we're starting a new tradition today, and so each year at this time I will give a State of the School update for you. So first I wanted to extend a warm welcome to all of our students here. So we're really thrilled to have our students from the Davis campus, from Sacramento, and from the Bay Area. Many of the students are already underway with us in the degree program, and others are just starting. So we're delighted to have you here. And thank you so much for choosing Davis. You can be proud to be here at an institution which is one of the most selective MBA programs in the country. You've chosen to undertake a very academically rigorous and challenging curriculum, and I know you'll find your experience rewarding in ways that you cannot now imagine. But be sure to enjoy the journey. Now, during your time here, while you build knowledge and experience learning from our world-class faculty and from each other, you'll also build lifelong relationships and friendships. And eventually, you'll join our esteemed alumni community, many of whom are also here with us today to celebrate the beginning of another academic year. Now, before we get started this afternoon, I'd like to take a moment to introduce to you some special guests that we have in attendance today, and I'll call them off and invite you to give your applause at the end of this list, okay? So first of all, a warm welcome to our trustees from the UC Davis Foundation Board, Dick Dorff, also GSM Professor Emeritus and Director of the MBA Consulting Center, and Bob Lorber, Adjunct Faculty Member and long-term trusted advisor to the school. We're also honored to have with us here today many who have played key roles in establishing the foundation of the business school. Some of our lead donors are here, and they have believed in us, they've inspired us, and they've provided key philanthropic support to the school. For example, Dick and Joy Dorff, Bob and Sandy Lorber, Bob and Helga Medeiros, GSM alum Mark Schmidt, Jerry and Helen Saran, and the family of the late Charlie Soderquist. Chris is here with us today and is one of our alums. Also, please welcome former Dean of the GSM and Professor Emeritus Alec McCullough, and members of my Dean's Advisory Cabinet, Art Sioka, Chairman of the Wine Group, and Dr. Jack Gill, Founding Partner of Vanguard Venture Partners. Members of my Dean's Advisory Council are here too. Judd Riggs, CEO of Tykert, and Barbara Grant, most recently with American River Ventures and one of our new adjunct faculty members. We also have members of the GSM Alumni Association Board of Directors, John Argo, President of Class of 2004, Mark Schmidt, Class of 1999, and Chris Soderquist, Class of 1998. Also here with us today is former Associate Dean David Woodruff and our current Associate Deans, Professors Hemant Bhargava and Michael Mayer. Our business partners are also represented well here in this event today. Capital Public Radio, a sponsor of today's event, Comstocks Magazine, First Northern Bank, Five Star Bank, Genentech, Hewlett-Packard, and Tykert. Many thanks to all of you who have provided ongoing support to the school. And finally, a warm welcome to all others, including our GSM alums, faculty, current students, staff, and other campus administrators, and donors and friends of the school. So thank you very much. Let's give them all a round of applause. So before we begin our lunch, I'd like to take a moment to recognize a very special and important member of our community who we're honoring here today. The school bestows an annual Dean's Distinguished Service Award to a special person who has been instrumental in helping us move forward, challenging us to think big and serving the school, and advocating for the GSM and championing our vision and our cause. I briefly introduced Dr. Jack Gill to you a moment ago, but now let me tell you more about his amazing career. Jack is a 35-year veteran of Silicon Valley and Boston venture capital communities. He's founded and financed numerous successful companies in the instrumentation, computer, communications, and medical industries. He co-founded Vanguard Venture Partners way back in 1981, before venture capital was cool. Vanguard's first 5 funds invested $155 million in 103 startups and generated over $1 billion in returns to investors. Pretty impressive. Their successes include Aldus, Advanced Fiber Communications, Ciena, Mycogen, Cobalt Networks, Digital Island, and many, many more. More recently, Jack has joined the Harvard Medical School faculty in 2000. He teaches entrepreneurship courses at Harvard, MIT, Stanford, Rice, Indiana University, and most importantly and most recently, at UC Davis as our 2010 Robert A. Fox Executive in Residence. Jack also sits on the board of the National Academies, Project Hope, Horatio Alger Association, and is a trustee of Indiana University and a member of the Executive Council of the Texas Emerging Technology Fund. So you can imagine Jack is a very, very busy guy. And Jack, welcome to the GSM family. He's been a driving force behind creation of the Dean's Cabinet, which is a critical asset in helping to build the school. As I mentioned, he served as our Fox Executive in Residence this past spring, teaching a course that got rave reviews. Here are some sample comments from the student evaluations. Quote, "All-time favorite course. UC Davis needs this level of teaching. Wonderful course, probably my favorite at the GSM. Jack Gill provided great insights and advice based on real-world experience. Amazing. Jack puts huge energy into the course, intellectually and emotionally, and he really opens up in his personal held beliefs. And also through Jack and fellow cabinet member Art Sioka, we were introduced to our recently confirmed 2011 Fox Executive in Residence, Bob Smellick. And some of you will have seen the announcement about Bob's appointment. Jack is also building important connections for us with other top higher education institutions through an entrepreneurial program called Velocity, which you'll hear more about very soon. Jack's been a longtime advisor and friend and mentor to me. He's joined today by his lovely wife, Linda. Linda, also a great longtime friend of ours. And thank you, Linda, for allowing Jack to spend time with us here at the GSM. Jack, I value your advice, your support, your counsel, and your friendship. In a short period of time, you've had an immense impact on the school, so it's my great pleasure to present to you today's 2010 Dean's Distinguished Service Award. Would you please come up? It really meant so much to us, Jack. So we're great. You had a huge impact quickly. Would you like to say a few words?
Wow. Thank you very much. This is a big-time setup, don't you think? Steve asked me to come back last May for this occasion, and he told me if I would, he'd lay out a blueprint for the great future of UC Davis School of Management, and I thought that was worthwhile doing. And then he told me about this little thing, and he didn't tell me he was going to call on me to say a few words, but it's a great pleasure to be back here on the Davis campus. Lynn and I spent 5 weeks this past spring, and I had a wonderful time with about 75 students, of which about 50 were from School of Management, and another 15 or 20 from medical school and from biomedical engineering and other scientific and medical engineering departments. We had a great time. It was really fun to do that. You know, I spent most of my life in a place called Silicon Valley, Palo Alto area, and I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but it is a true statement that in the entire history of the world, more companies, more enterprises has been founded there, more jobs created there, more wealth created there, more millionaires made, more billionaires made, more markets won, more companies taken public, more market value created than any other time or place in the history of the world. Now that's a big statement. And you know, I think of those years as what I called a great technology rat race. You know, no matter how smart you are, or what school you went to, or what your profession was, or how many companies you founded, you looked around, you saw people that were smarter, leaner, meaner, hungrier, and doing great things. It was a great place to be. Well, what that tells you is entrepreneurship makes the world go round, is kind of my thoughts. And so, you know, after 30-something years of that, as Steve mentioned, my thoughts were, you know, I've probably had more fun than the law should allow. And I've probably made more money than God intended. And so now what do I do seriously with myself? And so 10 years ago, I decided to retire from all of that. And it's hard to walk away from a venture capital firm that you founded, and all the relationships were mostly about you and your colleagues and your friends. But I had a bunch of great partners that allowed me to step down stepwise. And so all I wanted to do was take a breather, catch up, and have some fun, and maybe teach a little. And then I got drafted to move back to Boston and join the faculty at Harvard Med School and MIT Engineering. And you know, I never thought I'd say this, but Boston is at least as good as, maybe better in some eyes, a great tech community as Silicon Valley. But these are two great regions of the world, comprising something like 60% of all high-tech venture capital-backed activity. Silicon Valley about 40-ish, and Boston, New England about 20. But it was a great place to be. But my passion was to, now with all this experience, do something meaningful, something useful. And what I was most turned on about is the fact that most companies are founded by techie nerd, science engineers, and inventors. And most of us never took a business class in our life. And it would certainly have been nice if we had. It might have saved us a lot of mistakes. And so I wanted to create entrepreneur curriculum and help create entrepreneur centers. So I've had 10 years of pleasure of doing that at places like Stanford and Harvard and MIT and Rice and Davis and London School of Business and a whole bunch of other fine schools. And, you know, that was super fun for me. But, you know, it was really exciting to come here to Davis. Our oldest son was a professor here for a few years before he got recruited away. And we had been on Davis campus a number of times, but never with the intensity of getting to know a school like Graduate School of Management. I've had the great pleasure of working with your dean at four institutions, starting at Rice, then in London at London School of Business and University College London. And then I was very pleased he invited me to come here. You know, I'm very impressed with the quality of what I see here. You know, if you go visit schools like the Stanfords and the Harvards and MITs of the world that are older and more traditional and maybe reached a critical mass a little earlier, you know, what you see here is all the attributes I like in looking for a great new startup or company. Lean, mean, hungry, determined pursuit. People that have a great passion for going out and doing something meaningful and changing the world. And those who learn something we call right brain skills, you know, street savvy awareness. And you know, I'm just very impressed with the programs here, the students here. I know what this dean can do, and it's been my great pleasure to be a small part of that. Thank you for inviting me back. It's a great pleasure to be here.
Well, hello again, everyone. I'm really excited to have some time now with you to update you on the school. There's lots to tell you and a lot of things to share with you today. So let me just begin by saying how delighted I am to be here and to be your dean. As I've said to many of you before, it was just 1 year ago that I left my home and my job in London, moved 6,000 miles to California to take this position. And I did so because I saw an extraordinary foundation of quality faculty and students, and I recognized very, very quickly the amazing opportunity this is for all of us to work together to advance the school. This foundation has served the school very well for many, many years, but we're now at an inflection point in the school's trajectory. And many of the choices that we're going to be making, that we have made this past year and that we're going to be making in the near future are going to have dramatic implications for the school for many, many years and are going to take us forward to make this really one of the world's great business schools. And this combination of the foundation of a foundation and this extraordinary opportunity for growth and advancement is really what makes this school unique and why I couldn't be happier to be here. I really believe and really honest in saying that I think that combination of the foundation and the opportunity makes this business school unique and different than any other opportunity here that we have in the entire country. And that's why I placed a bet on UC Davis. So I'm betting with my time, my energy, my intellect, and my heart, and I'm delighted to be working with all of you as a steward of the future of the school. Let me say a little bit about what I see as the mission of the school. So the mission of any great business school is to create economic prosperity. And we do that by supplying leadership and management talent to existing small, medium, and large corporations, which in turn creates economic prosperity for consumers, employers, and shareholders. A business school's graduates, however, must also create economic prosperity where none existed before. We do this by commercializing new innovations through entrepreneurship. And the GSM supplies business leadership talent to bring new science and engineering discoveries to the marketplace through this commercialization process. Now, it's important to recognize that our philosophy is that the role of a business school is to foster economic prosperity for all. We're not oriented toward business education for a small group of wealthy people. We're responsible for diffusing economic prosperity in underserved groups and communities domestically as well as in developing countries around the world. So to illustrate our philosophy of promoting economic prosperity for all, let me share with you a quote from Joseph Schumpeter. So those of you who know your economic history will be familiar with Schumpeter and will remember that he was born in 1883. He was a citizen of the Austro-Hungarian Empire and was a Harvard professor for 18 years. He believed that business people are responsible for spreading mass affluence, not for creating wealth for only a few. So here's a quote from Schumpeter. Queen Elizabeth I owned silk stockings. The capitalist's achievement does not typically consist in providing more silk stockings for queens, but in bringing them within the reach of factory girls in return for steadily decreasing amounts of effort. The capitalist process, not by coincidence, but by virtue of its mechanism, progressively raises the standard of life of the masses. So that philosophy captures what we mean by spreading and fostering economic prosperity for all. And to that we are committed and dedicated. As you know, next door we have our new building, Gallagher Hall. We finally have a world-class structure to match our world-class faculty and students. So we're delighted about that. And in many ways, Gallagher Hall represents a new era. But the completion of Gallagher Hall has not meant the end of our building efforts. To the contrary, Gallagher Hall represents the beginning of a new era of building the organizational and intellectual architecture of the school. So my objective today is to share with you how, on a daily basis, we're putting in place the building blocks for the future of the school. Graduate School of Management at UC Davis is a very, very special place. It's a close-knit intellectual community of faculty and students, and it comprises an intellectual community that's really, truly unique. And I can give you lots of facts and figures about that, and I will give you facts and figures later on. But to truly explain the fabric of our community, I want to share with you the views of students and alumni about what the school has meant in their lives and their careers.
And the UC Davis MBA program consistently turns out the highest quality candidates year after year, not just for their performance inside the classroom, but for their ability to compete on the playing fields of corporate America every single day. The program itself is so collaborative in nature that we are forced to lean on each other. We are forced to learn from each other and take the concepts learned in the classroom and really excel together as a group.
Well, one of the great things about the Graduate School of Management is that they have offerings that range in the background you need to start them, from having absolute zero understanding to having an incredible depth working with some of the highest performing individuals in the world in those fields. And I utilize that as someone who changed industries. Probably one of my favorite classes I took. It really shows why the Graduate School of Management is so special. It has to do with my second year, when a number of the students wanted to have a leadership-focused class, and there wasn't anything offered during the term. And so because the school is so focused on students and what students would like towards their careers, the response was incredible. And we had a full class of 20 students learning leadership through experiential means from the dean herself. And that probably helped shape how I viewed what business should do in the world as a leader in the economy and in the community.
Well, those are just two examples of the impact that the school is having on our students and our graduates. So I'm really thrilled to be able to share those with you. I think those testimonials are very moving and very touching, and shows how we're having an impact on our students and graduates. So let me talk a little bit about the themes that I want to emphasize today. So there's three general themes. One of describing. So what was the standing of the school back in 2008 and 9 as a sort of baseline, and what have we done in the past year? And I'll spend quite a bit of time updating you on what we've done in the past year. And then second, the vision for the school. Well, what are our aspirations, and how high can we really build the school? And last, what is the plan? How are we going about the process of developing a strategic plan, and what are our steps? And I'll be providing you with a framework today that I have never shared with any of the faculty and staff and students yet, so this will be a very new material for you in terms of the roadmap that we're following. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some metrics. Let's use as our foundation the year 2009-10. So where were we at that time? 30 Senate faculty, average graduate management admissions test of 684, very, very good. Starting salary, $77,000, a bit challenging there. Certainly a reflection of some of the downward pressures on our economy. Budget of about $18 million. One thing that we track very closely is the proportion of our revenues that are based on non-state of California funds. So there we were at about 69%. And the Economist magazine ranked our faculty quality as number 9 at about $2.8 million in gifts in that year. And then in this past year, in the present year, we've hired one new faculty member, and I'll mention a bit more about that in just a minute. The graduate management admissions test score, 691, is the highest in the history of the school. So we're really very, very proud about that. We've had an amazing rebound of our starting salaries into the low 90,000s. $17 million budget, about the same in terms of non-state of California. Number 3 in terms of faculty quality by The Economist, and I'll come back to that in a few minutes and tell you a little bit more about that. So we're very, very proud of that. And about $3 million in gifts. So what about the future? What are some examples of our aspirations? So we'd like to grow the faculty up to at least 40. Still a very modest size in terms of other business schools. We'd like to exceed 700 on the GMAT. Starting salaries over 100,000. Somehow I think the students are probably in favor of that goal, right? Yeah? Probably get an amen on that. Higher budget and a higher proportion into the 70s in terms of percent of revenue based on non-California funds. And to be number one in terms of faculty quality is a very, very high aspiration, but I say, why not? Let's go for it. And that metric is based on your student ratings of faculty. It's the student-faculty ratio and the proportion of our faculty who have PhDs. So that's what that metric reflects. And we'd like to shoot for about $4 million in annual gifts. Okay, so how do we get there? What's the process that we're using now to create a blueprint for the strategic renewal of the school? So this has never been seen before. This is our new framework, and I think captures quite well the roadmap that we have been using and that we are using now. So let me walk through this very, very briefly. So phase one on the left, part A. So many of you have heard me talk about the Davis Dialogue. So this is an opportunity that I've taken to talk to faculty, staff, students, alumni, business community members, and so on to get your input and your feedback on the direction of the school. So in the past year, I've met over 4,200 members of the school's community. We've also carried out an alumni and employer survey to collect data on what's needed from our graduates. And we've hired external marketing consultants to advise us as well. So that was the Davis Dialogue. Now, phase one, part B, is what we've actually done in the first year to grab some immediate targets of impact. So we've done a lot, and I'm going to spend a good bit of time here in a few minutes telling you what we've done in the last year, and that's why there's a red circle around that section of the diagram, because that's what I'll be focusing on next. But what we've done is focused our efforts in three categories. One is to consolidate the school's foundation, pursue growth opportunities, and position the school for future growth. I'll walk through, later on in my remarks, I'll walk through phase two and phase three. So let's now go to consolidation of the school's foundation, this lower bottom section of this triangle framework, okay? Let me say a little bit about further strengthening faculty scholarship. It's absolutely fundamental to the success of the school. So like our UC Davis colleagues in science, engineering, social sciences, and humanities, the faculty of the Graduate School of Management are deeply committed to production of new knowledge via our scholarship. Our faculty members are global leaders in terms of publications in top-tier academic outlets, journal editorships and editorial board memberships, and citation counts. We produce cutting-edge and fundamental new knowledge that comprises the textbooks in our fields. Our faculty have been hired from the top business schools in the world: Harvard Business School, University of Chicago, Cornell, Northwestern, UC Berkeley, Stanford, Yale, the Wharton School, just to mention a few. So we've been extraordinarily fortunate in hiring faculty. So a little bit more detail in terms of what we've accomplished. We're very, very proud to say that we recruited Professor Shannon Anderson to the school. Shannon came to us from Rice as a full professor in our accounting group and has a PhD from Harvard. So Shannon, welcome. We're also very proud that we were able to award an endowed chair, in particular the Newberry Chair in Leadership, to Professor Kim Ellsbach. We've also awarded the Soderquist Chair in Entrepreneurship to Andy Hargadon. And we're very proud to say that Nicole Biggert was awarded the Chevron Chair in Energy Efficiency. And I've also invested $100,000 of new money to support our faculty for strengthening our research visibility. Okay, another key aspect of consolidating our foundation, and that is to leverage the close-knit academic community that we have. Now, this is something that's really key in our thinking about the strategy for the school, because this is, we think, a potential source of sustainable competitive advantage for us relative to our competing business schools. So we have a great foundation of a quality learning community for our students. We fostered a deeper and richer learning environment compared to other competitors. We continue to emphasize quality over quantity of our students, and our students have unusual access to our faculty members, both inside and outside the classroom. The school also has a long-standing commitment to responsible business. Unlike many other business schools that rush to do research and offer classes on business ethics during the financial downturn of 2007. We have been doing this for years, really for decades. We've had faculty commitment to these areas for many, many years, and it's a strength of ours. And also in a ceremony just recently, our students led their own ethics pledge, and virtually 100% of the students signed the ethics pledge, and we're very proud of that. So now to put a little more flesh on the bones in terms of the nature of this close-knit community, I want to share with you some views of our students and faculty members that will say a little bit more from their perspective about what this community means. And this is material from a video created by one of our alumni, Matt Robinson, who graduated just this past year.
Well, the people are definitely what drew me to Davis. I remember I was sitting at NBA Day last year, sitting next to Keith, and Keith had just gotten back from Afghanistan and from Kenya, living abroad for 8 years. And I was like, wow, that's so neat. And I was sitting next to another person, Hillary, and she was an outdoor education instructor. And just a really diverse group of people that are just really smart.
I really think that there is something about the way that the people in our program look at the world in terms of, and this is going to sound cliche, but we see people, we don't see dollars. People here, whether it's caring about the environment or social entrepreneurship, whether they're looking to go to Wall Street and work on finance or, whatever, go into marketing or whatever their interest is, I think that people in our program care about people.
For me, it has been great. I think that in a 200 or 150 people class, I would have got lost in the crowd.
There's a lot of personal attention, and faculty really care about the students. It's not, it's not just a job. They really get to know them and care about them.
I consider myself pretty good at working in teams. I've been in a lot of collaborative work environments, but my experience here has definitely taken it to a whole new level.
If anyone's having a hard time in a class, everybody's there to help them out. I see it happening every day in the student lounge where somebody has a question and there's, they may ask one person and then the entire lounge may end up getting involved in the conversation and helping out and giving their opinion and discussing it. And the school really fosters that. They definitely encourage that, which is great.
Students here get a lot of opportunity. It's at first terrifying, but eventually it's satisfying. A lot of opportunity to present, to be on their feet in front of groups, to be under the gun, and to deliver. Much more so than a bigger school. I've been in bigger schools, UCLA, Stanford, and Cornell, and they do some presenting, but nowhere near as much as the students here.
Being such a small school, I was really impressed by the caliber of teachers that we have here at Davis. For example, we have a top organizational behavior expert teaching our core class.
A couple of years ago, we were ranked by the Financial Times as #1 in the world in organizational behavior, and blew everyone away. We were ahead of Stanford and Harvard and Berkeley and every European. And last year we were ranked #2. So we've been up at the very top. This little small group here at Davis, which is pretty amazing. So one of the reasons we were ranked so high by Financial Times was it was a combination of research and teaching. And we got really high ratings on the research, but also from teaching. And I think that kind of research we do that requires us to spend time in organizations and understand them translates so well into teaching, because students they don't want to just know the facts, they want to understand why.
So what he said was, it's not about the facilities, it's about the people. So at that moment I did not understand much, and for me it was huge stadium. This is where you will improve yourself, but it's really about the people. So we can go to a huge building, but if you do not have the people, it doesn't make a difference.
Shall we give them a round of applause for producing that video? Well, that community is very important for us and is an important strategic asset, as I said, and we're going to continue to build on that. And one thing that's very, very close to that is the nature of our curriculum. And so we have now launched off on a journey to revisit the entire curriculum of our MBA program. And we've appointed a task force for curricular renewal. And the task force is comprised of faculty, students, alumni, and business leaders. It's led by Professor Brad Barber, our most senior finance professor. And the task force has now issued a draft report that puts us on track to have one of the most innovative business curricula in the world. Now, as you can imagine, any serious discussion about curriculum changes is daunting, especially for faculty and staff, because there's the prospect of some real fundamental changes in the way that we deliver our material and faculty workload and so on. But the task force was extraordinarily courageous, showed a real commitment to excellence, showed great vision, and I was really thrilled with this draft report that they developed. I'm confident that we'll have an updated curriculum before the end of the calendar year, and I think it will really put us on par with the most innovative curricula in business schools around the world. Let me show you a little bit more about the process that they used in developing their ideas about the curriculum. So if you look down the left-hand column, there was a data collection phase, framing the opportunity, generating ideas and assess, and then recommendations. And then the material on the right in the blue is a more detailed analysis. So there was a great deal of data collection, interviews of faculty at many, many other great business schools, alumni survey, employer survey, reflection on core courses and how they're integrated together, and an analysis, SWOT analysis, as well as of points of parity and as points of differentiation that we have. Then that led to the brainstorming segment, and then to the proposed curriculum change. So there'll be more about that coming before the end of the calendar year, and I think you'll find it very exciting to see what we're doing in that area. We're also taking action in terms of, we've created a task force on the assessment of learning. So this is a very important aspect of our operations to ensure that our students are actually learning the material that we have before them in the classroom, and that effort is led by Professor Paul Griffin. Now, moving on to investment in operations and staff development. Of course, Gallagher Hall marks a huge milestone for the school. And as you'll probably remember, back in 2007, the Gallaghers generously donated a leadership gift of $10 million for the Graduate School of Management, much of which went into the school. Gallagher Hall symbolizes the deep commitment by the Gallaghers, as well as by the UC Davis campus, to support world-class business education and research. Here's a photo of our grand opening event, which was really a great day for us about a year ago. And so the Gallaghers, Marcia and Maury are on the left, the chancellor there in the middle. And so that was really a great day for us. And also we added some information on this slide about the LEED Gold standard that the building has met in terms of environmentally sensitive building and design and so on. And it's amazing, this building just keeps racking up more and more awards. I mean, there's now a lengthy list of the awards that this building has garnered. So we're very, very proud of that. Now, Gallagher is not the only new facility that we have in our programs. The Sacramento Working Professional MBA program has moved into the $46 million education building on the UC Davis Health System campus. So here's an image of that. That's really another first-class building, and our students are together with the medical students and the nursing students in this facility. And in Bishop Ranch, 2 years ago, we moved into a dedicated facility for our San Francisco Bay Area Working Professional program. We're now located in the Bishop Ranch Corporate Complex, which is shared by offices of approximately 550 companies in this overall Bishop Ranch complex. And we recently added about 2,400 square feet of new space for our student commons in the Bishop Ranch facility. Okay, and there are additional actions that we're taking, that we've taken during the past year. So let me just say a little bit more about those. Two very important developments were the agreement by Professors Hemant Bhargava and Michael Mayer to agree to serve as associate deans. So I'm really thrilled to be working with them. They're incredibly creative, they have extraordinary credibility with the faculty, and they're doing a great job in their respective roles. We've also made investments in staff development to the tune of about $11,000, and we restructured student affairs. So we think that we've got an even more efficient and effective student affairs operation now. Now let's move to talking a little bit about what the school has accomplished during the past year in the area of pursuing growth opportunities, and that's the section in the upper left-hand corner of this framework. So we made progress on a number of fronts in terms of revenue creation. So our total philanthropic gifts in 2009-10 were about $2,800,000. We've increased our working professional MBA revenues by about 8% from the previous year. We contributed to our financial reserves despite $560,000 budget cuts from the UC Davis campus. And we hope that we're done with those cuts, okay? We're not sure, but we've weathered this storm very well in the GSM, partly because of the financial strength of the school. Thanks to the success of our wine executive program, we generated a surplus of $62,000 last year that we reinvested back into the school. And in terms of total alumni giving, that was up 26% from 2 years ago, so we're very pleased about that. And we're also really thrilled with the fact that our graduating class gift campaign garnered 100% of graduate participation in all three of our locations, Davis, San Ramon, and Sacramento. So that's really a milestone and a real testament to the great work of many and the generosity of our students. Now, we have a strong commitment to diversity, and that is reinforced by the annual study that we do each year on participation of women in top management teams and on boards of California's largest corporations. That report garners lots and lots of media coverage. Statewide, national, and international media have covered this, as represented by some of these media outlets that you see on the screen now. This research is led by Professor Don Palmer. And here's an image of the cover of the report that we issue, and we'll be issuing this updated report again in this year, December of this year. Now, also, we've done some empirical analysis on gender diversity among our faculty, and the GSM actually has the most diverse faculty among the top 50 business schools in the world in terms of the percent of female faculty. So have a look at that. That's very, very impressive, we think. We're very, very proud that we have so many great female faculty with us, and we really are world leading in that area. Okay, now media outreach is in general very, very important for the school because it ensures that the business community and the general public is aware of the fascinating new research findings that our faculty are developing. Many of you probably saw the coverage of the analysis that Victor Stango did of the loss to corporate sponsors as a result of the Tiger Woods scandal. So he did an analysis of those companies that had Tiger Woods as a corporate spokesperson and looked at the drop in their market cap as a result of the scandal. And here's an image of Victor being interviewed on ABC's Good Morning America. And interestingly, this is one of the most widely covered research findings in the history of UC Davis, all right? Not just in the last year, in the history of UC Davis. There were thousands and thousands of media coverage. There's lots of thousands and thousands of examples of media coverage of these findings. So we're really, really thrilled with that outreach. Now, another service that we provide to the business community is the Big Bang Business Plan Competition, which is a terrific event that brings together our students and business leaders to develop commercialization of new innovations. So that has been a very, very key aspect of our outreach to the business community. We've also been very, very active in developing the clean tech sector in California. Professor Andy Hargadon and Will Agatstein of the Center for Entrepreneurship lead a Green Technology Entrepreneurship Academy that's had great support from the Kauffman Foundation and many others and has been a huge success. We've also participated in 2 clean tech related events. One was last May 12th called E3, Economic Prosperity, Energy, and the Environment. I had the great honor of interviewing our governor in a fireside chat, one-on-one format. So here's an image of, looks like he's giving me a hard time there. But he was really great that day. He was very on top of his figures and knowledge about policy, and of course very, very supportive and bullish on the prospect of clean tech being a source of new job creation in the state. So that was a great event for the school and for the campus. A second event that's coming up that's a bit of a follow-on is that as a result of our deepening relationship with the governor's office, he has decided to move from Los Angeles to Davis his global climate summit. So on November 15th and 16th of this year, we'll be holding the Governor's Global Climate Summit 3 in the Mondavi Center, and we will host 600 to 700 delegates from around the world at this event. And there will be opportunities for you all to purchase tickets for that as well. So keep your ears open for further announcements about this. It's going to be very, very exciting for the campus and for developments in clean technology. Now, we've had representation on several boards in the San Francisco Bay Area and Sacramento. And I was privileged to be asked by Mayor Kevin Johnson of Sacramento to be one of the team leads on his Greenwise initiative. So I'm very, very proud of that. And in what may be either a new low or a new high, depending on how you feel about cartoon characters, I was part of this cover of the Sacramento News and Review. Thank you, Tim. Okay. So I'm in the upper left-hand corner there, all muscled up with sunglasses on. So this was really a fun activity. The mayor, of course, is on my right as our visionary, and the other team leads there are in the cartoon. And I now have a copy of that hanging on my office wall. It's one of my great accomplishments. So let me talk a little bit about differentiation of our school programs. Okay, one of the very exciting things that's happened in this last year is that the faculty has decided by virtue of a consensus decision at our faculty retreat in September of 2009 that we will propose the creation of a new master's degree in professional accountancy. So this is we think, a very, very exciting development for the school. We think it is a great example of our responsiveness and responsibility to the business community. As some of you know, there have been some changes in the California laws about the training for accountants, and we are being responsive to that, and we hope to launch this program in the next year or two. It's been led by Professor Bob Yetman, who's really devoted an extraordinary amount of effort to this proposal and has shepherded it through the approval process. It's now being considered by the university, and we hope to hear back in the next few months about whether they have approved the proposal to move on to the next step, which is the University of California System Office in Oakland. So another differentiation feature is one that you've heard a little bit about today already, and that is Jack Gill's course that he offered this past spring as our Fox executive in residence. This is a course that Jack has taught at Harvard, MIT, and Rice, and the course was really transformational for our students. We provided some additional quotes from the student evaluations, and it really, really was an extraordinary opportunity. There were 68 students. There were actually 2 students from the San Ramon program who drove to Davis for every class session. So that shows you how well received this this course was. So we've really been thrilled with the impact that that course has had on the school. We've also launched an innovative new Mayoral Fellows program with Mayor Kevin Johnson. It provides an excellent learning opportunity for our students interested in public service. And here's a photo of our Mayoral Fellows at the press conference where we announced the program, so we're very happy to be working with the mayor's office on that. Now, one of the highlights of the experience of many of our students is the annual pilgrimage to Omaha, Nebraska, to see Warren Buffett. So here is a couple of images of Warren. Really, you know, when I went last year, and I had high expectations for him and this event, and my expectations were really exceeded. It was really amazing the kind of insight that he was imparting, and a lot of it was really not about finance and economics. He was far more interested in talking about integrity and building trust, family values, ethics, and so on. So it really, really was a moving experience for our students. He seems to always find pretty girls when there's a camera around. So he's apparently got a lot of life left in him. So now let's move to this topic of how to position the school for further growth. So this is represented in the upper right-hand section of this diagram. So one thing we've done is we've invested resources in engaging nationally known marketing experts to give us a fresh look at positioning and branding the school. In terms of the brand of the school, our position in the business school rankings is, of course, absolutely fundamental to our visibility. So one example is how we stack up on the U.S. News and World Report rankings. So this shows that we do very, very well. We are easily in the top 10% of the accredited business schools in the country, and we have been for 15 consecutive years. Top 5% of public universities. Our program is very, very selective, top 5% in terms of MBA programs, and we do very, very well on many other rankings as well. And this next slide shows how we stack up on rankings such as the Financial Times, The Economist, Beyond Gray Pinstripes, which has to do with social responsibility, Princeton Review, and Forbes. So this is something from a managerial standpoint we monitor very closely how we do on this, because it has so much impact on our visibility and on our pool of prospective student applicants. So very, very important for us. Now, the ultimate customers for the school are our employers who hire our graduates. Much of our attention on employers reflects a geographical strategy that we have in Northern California. Here's a map that shows our three locations. We span the geographical corridor from the San Francisco Bay Area to Sacramento by virtue of our working professional MBA program in San Ramon and in Sacramento, and with our full-time MBA program anchored in Gallagher Hall. So we really think that this geographical positioning is very, very important. As we all know, the Bay Area is possibly the world's greatest hub of innovation and entrepreneurship. And of course, in Sacramento, we have the hub of business regulation and oversight, which is also very, very important. And we think that the juxtaposition of the Bay Area and Sacramento with Davis right in between is a very important strategic asset that we have. Here's a list of some of our key employers, which is really a who's list of companies, many of these household names that we're all familiar with. These are the companies who are hiring our graduates. So we're very, very proud of that. We've also developed relationships with employers through our MBA Consulting Center project. So here are some additional firms that have worked with us in terms of our consulting center. Now, one strategic area where I have great passion is the further internationalization of our student experience. As you know, I just spent 3.5 years living and working in London. So I certainly have seen the importance of international outreach and a global experience for our students, and so I'm working hard to develop more of that for the school. In June, I was in China and met with the leadership of 4 of China's leading business schools, and we now are processing memoranda of agreement about exchange programs with these schools. So we're very, very pleased about that development. This image is a photograph of my meeting with President Zhang of the China-Europe International Business School. Had a very, very warm reception there by him and a lot of excitement about a student exchange program with this business school. Now, in terms of fostering a culture of innovation, one important area for us is executive education. And we have spent a lot of time over the last few months doing a market analysis of opportunities for non-degree executive education and building business models. So we're very encouraged by that opportunity. It's a great opportunity for additional revenue generation for the school that we can reinvest back into faculty scholarships, student scholarships, and marketing for the school, and so on. Now, one example that you're probably familiar with of executive education success by the school is our wine executive program. It's a very successful program led by Professor Bob Smiley, the former dean of the school. It's been going on for 10 years now. As I mentioned earlier to you, we had 67 participants this past year, generated $62,000 in extra revenue for the school. So let's now return to this strategic renewal framework that I shared earlier with you that's guiding our decision making. We're now in phase 2, and we're wrapping up the analysis of opportunities and challenges facing the school. The analysis has involved consultation with many advisors and stakeholders, and one key source of advice to me personally and to the entire school is our new Dean's Advisory Cabinet. So the cabinet is comprised of very senior business leaders, Art Sioka, Dino Cortopassi, and Jack Gill, and they're helping us immeasurably in thinking about the future of the school. We just had a session yesterday with them where we brainstormed about future strategic initiatives, and they were really so very helpful to me in helping me think about the school. And let me tell you, they are candid and tough, too. And they really don't pull any punches in advising us and telling us the direction they think we should be going. So we really value that candid feedback. So based on their input and the input of literally thousands of members of the school's community in the Davis Dialogue, we are developing a new set of strategic priorities. So here are some examples of strategic priorities that we've identified and that will be guiding our strategic planning. So, for example, faculty quality and research excellence at the top of our priority list. Connectivity to the business community, absolutely fundamental. Business community is comprised of our customers. We want to be efficient and nimble in the way we're organized and the way we're governed. We want to emphasize integrity and innovation and operational excellence. We want to ensure resource strength, the financial strength of the school, and we will also always focus on quality over quantity. Now, this list of strategic priorities has also led us to reflect on what we should not do. So here are some examples of what we think we should not be doing. We must not sacrifice quality of faculty, students, or programs simply to grow the size of the school. We must not overextend our financial resources as to imbalance the school's financial standing. We must not attempt to compete in educational markets where the school has no competitive advantage. And we must not engage in actions that in any way compromise the reputation or integrity of the school. So those are important tenets for us as well. Now, our analysis has also surfaced some challenges that we face. So here are some examples of some of the challenges that we think the school faces. Well, not surprisingly, the financial situation is at the top of our list. So these budgetary fluctuations that we've experienced have been very, very difficult. Possible for us to navigate through this because of the financial strength of the school, but they're very challenging for us as well. Another challenge that we have is to grow more mind share with additional blue chip companies as recruiters of our students. Very, very important. We want to become more visible in national and international media. We think this is an area where we can improve. We've got more work to do. We need to grow the size of the faculty and the students to increase our footprint. So this is another issue that we're considering because we're a modest-sized school, and so that's has lots of implications for the size of our footprint and our visibility. So we also want to grow our enrollment numbers. Again, always thinking about quality over quantity, but we think there are opportunities to grow our enrollment numbers. And we want to increase the international experience for our students. We think that we're behind some business schools in this area, so we think that's very, very important as well. Now, going back to very, very helpful input from our Dean's Advisory Council and the GSM Alumni Association. So these two bodies have been very, very important to us in thinking about how to take the school forward, and they have really transformed themselves, even just during the past year. So that we've reorganized the way we appoint people to the Dean's Advisory Council. We've involved them more deeply in strategic planning. We've included a mandatory financial commitment from them, so we think these are important developments. And the Alumni Association has also transformed itself. They did a terrific benchmarking study this past year looking at the alumni boards of top 50 business schools. So very, very supportive and very, very illuminating about how we can improve. So a new focus on fundraising by the board and transition to more of an elected board than just an appointed board. So these are very, very important developments in these two bodies that are important for the advice and input that we get in thinking about the future of the school. Let's talk a little bit more about financial strength. So here's a bar chart that shows the percentage of revenues that are coming from non-state of California funds, and those have been increasing. We're very, very proud of this trend. This is a trend that we are eager to continue, and as you see, we have a very ambitious stretch goal all the way out to 2018-19 of having almost 100% of our revenue come from non-state of California funds. So we think that's very, very important. Now, one way to strengthen our financial resources is through the new capital campaign that the university is announcing on October 22nd. So we're absolutely thrilled about this. This is the first true public comprehensive campaign that the university has ever launched. Very ambitious. It is a $1 billion campaign. So we're delighted that the chancellor has led this effort, and this campaign will be officially announced on October 22nd. We urge you to attend this event in Mondavi if you're available. It's going to be a very, very exciting event. We have other activities planned here by the GSM, so we're excited about that day. That's going to be a great day for this school and for the university. So what are some of our priorities in terms of the school campaign? What is the school, the Graduate School of Management, focusing on? Of course, faculty support, very, very important to us. New program development, support for centers of excellence. So centers can be very, very useful in terms of promoting faculty research and outreach and visibility to the business community. We want to grow the school's endowment, have those unrestricted funds that are very important, and the prospect of a mega gift, a naming gift for the school, which could have a transformational impact on the school. So I'm very, very bullish on the future of the school. We've got great prospects ahead of us. And so now I return to our blueprint framework that we're using, and this shows where we are right now in October 2010. So we're actually in phase 2, part B. So we are actually involved heavily on a day-to-day basis now in rethinking our vision, mission, and core values of the school. We're thinking about sources of competitive strength, and we're thinking about new revenue models. So this is what we're doing right now, and by the end of the calendar year, we expect to have a draft document that articulates all of these aspects and really outlines where we're going in terms of the future of the school. So let me reiterate a couple of the points that I mentioned at the beginning of my remarks. This is truly a unique school. It's got this amazing combination of an excellent foundation and also a great opportunity for growth and advancement. And the combination of those two things is really what makes this school so unique. and really suggest that we're at a pivotal point in our trajectory. So I think this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for all of us to come together and push this school forward and raise its visibility and its impact. So I hope that you'll join me in this exciting journey. It's very, very exciting for us to coalesce around this new vision, and I hope that all of you will be our partners in this activity. Now let me say a few words about what I expect from students, from others, and so on. So for the students, what we need is for you to be innovative and entrepreneurial and global in your thinking and results-driven in developing yourself as future leaders. You really are our partners, and you are what we are sending out into the business community to be our ambassadors. So be ambitious. Take your education seriously, and be ambitious as you move into a new career after your MBA program. To my cabinet, my advisory council, the alumni board of directors, and others, I need your advocacy, I need your support, and your fresh strategic thinking. To donors, business partners, and friends, your personal participation, engagement, and financial support are critical to our future. You also are our advocates and our mentors, and we need your active involvement. From our faculty, I need your commitment to continue in your excellence as researchers and teachers. We want you to be as productive and as visible as you can in your research, your teaching, and your outreach to the business community. And from our staff, understand the importance of responsible, sustainable revenue generation, and that it is critical that as we move forward toward financial independence, we focus on generating our revenues and stewarding and shepherding those revenues that come from non-state of California funds. So I thank all of you today for sharing this event with us and for the opportunity to share these ideas with you. Look forward to working with all of you during the upcoming year to achieve our aspirations. Thank you. And we've got a couple minutes for questions, but I wanted to just direct your attention very quickly to the fortune cookies on your table. So if you have not yet opened your fortune cookie, please do so now. And here's the one that Anya opened right next to me. So these all have GSM-related fortunes. It says, hiring UC Davis MBAs brings you great fortune. All right? So that's a good one for our future. Are there any comments or questions, anything you'd like to discuss before we conclude?
Hello, Dean. Right here.
Oh, hey, how are you?
My name's Andrew. I'm a second year daytime student, president of the ASM in class of 2011. And I actually have two questions for you. The first is, I think a challenge that you didn't put up there, but I think it still exists, is our location in Davis, California.
Our location?
Our location in Davis. I think that some other schools that are naturally located within the major city or metropolitan area are naturally involved in the community. And so I think that maybe if you can speak to a part of the public outreach, whether it's a marketing campaign or what it might mean to bring these other companies inside of our perspective of a corridor system.
Great. Very good question. Let me just tell you something about Andrew before I answer this question. I don't know if he took the negotiation course. Did you take a negotiation course? Okay. Well, he was negotiating with me last year about my support for some of their activities, and he got money out of me. So hats off to you, Andrew, for negotiating. Well, this is a very good question, and in many ways you're reading our mind, because on Tuesday of next week, we have a meeting of our top leadership team here in the school to talk about devoting additional financial resources to more staff to do business development and marketing in the Bay Area. So we're also contemplating doing that in Sacramento as well. So we have staff in both of those locations right now, but they're not actually dedicated to business development and marketing. They're more operational in focus, which is hugely important. But we think that there is an opportunity and really an obligation to think about how to expand our marketing and business development activities in both of those areas. because they're so important in terms of the business community. And of course, the Bay Area is really a globally visible, huge business community, and Sacramento is very strong as well. So we're on the same wavelength. And next Tuesday, we're going to talk about allocating additional funds to exactly that kind of activity. Very good question. Others?
Hi, Steve. Vinny Catalano, class of 97.
Vinny, welcome.
How are you?
Good.
Good. Well, I want to recognize first that in this one short year that you've been here, you've been, I think, a fabulous influence to the school. I think you've certainly reached out to the Alumni Association in a lot of ways and have done some great things. The other thing I would like to recognize is the fact that today is your birthday.
Okay. Yes, it is.
And according to Anya, everybody is supposed to sing now.
Oh, no. Please.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sheila. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's very, very kind. And Anya, I'm going to put that in your performance evaluation next year. And I'm not sure if that's going to take it up or down. Thank you. That's very kind. Here's one over here. Lupe.
Hi, I'm Rodane Soto, first year. I had an opportunity to talk to Robert Fox after our Saturday session with him, and one of the things that he mentioned is you should always go for in trying to move up in business is getting a good mentor. What do you foresee as a formal mentorship program here that we could have, not only to have a mentor, but also to be modeling so that you could mentor someone in your business career as you move up and elevate?
That's a great idea. And we do not have a formal program right now to do that. And one opportunity might be to involve our alumni community to do that. So Roberta, make a note. Yes? Okay. That's a great idea, and mentoring is very powerful. I'm sure all of us have had mentors and people who've advised us. I certainly have, and so it's a great idea, and we will seriously consider it. Thank you. Wayne, there's a microphone for you.
Wayne Bartholomew, what are the leveraging opportunities with the rest of the campus that you can articulate?
Good. Didn't spend much time on that, but that's a very good question. So as many of you have heard me say before, this is really a global world-class university. We're in the top 10 in the country in terms of research expenditures. We're very fortunate to be at a comprehensive university that has medical school, vet school, law school, arts and sciences, engineering, agriculture, all these important areas. And to be candid, I've been a little bit surprised that the school has not had additional outreach activities to other academic units. When I came here last year, I saw that as one area of possible improvement. We do offer an MBA JD degree. That's relatively small. Probably our biggest success so far in terms of outreach to the rest of campus is the Center for Entrepreneurship. So that has been very successful in reaching out to science, engineering, and medicine. And so that's one example. The Wine Executive Program is actually another example that's had a good long history. You know that, you probably know that that's done in collaboration with the Department of Viticulture and Enology. So that's an example. But we have additional opportunities, and one area is non-degree executive education, similar to the Wine Executive Program. So we might explore programs relating to agribusiness, or agricultural biotechnology, information technology, industry, and so on. So there's lots of opportunities. I think there's a great deal more we could do in terms of partnering with other academic units on campus. We hope that there'll be a little bit of a bonding that will go on in Sacramento due to the fact that our students are now located in the same building as the medical students and the nursing students. So that'll be an intriguing opportunity to see if they might work together on business plans, say, to go into the Big Bang Business Plan competition. Who knows, they might start dating each other as well, so that might be another way they might collaborate. So, but there really is a lot of opportunities that we have, and I'm eager to do that. I've had joint appointments in other academic units in my previous institutions, in particular in engineering schools and in psychology departments, and so I'm eager to do that, and that's a great suggestion.
Keith Weissglass, I'm a first-year full-time student. Dean, I really appreciate your emphasis on branding of the school. I think that the faculty quality numbers and some of the other metrics show that and what I feel realized as students already in our first few weeks here is that the quality is already here, and that really what it's going to take the school to a higher level is letting everyone else know that. What do you think that specifically we as students and in the future as alumni we can do to be a part of that and to help communicate that to the general public or I guess the broader business community?
Yeah, very good comment, and I agree completely with that. You know, there's an interesting history at UC Davis. Davis has been a relatively reticent campus in terms of branding itself. Not just the Graduate School of Management, the whole university. But I can tell you those days are over. We have a new chancellor who understands branding and marketing. You may be aware that she's engaged an external consulting firm to develop a new branding strategy, and I was involved in selecting that firm. And so there's lots of good work going on at the university. The Graduate School of Management has been relatively sophisticated and savvy about branding, but frankly, we haven't devoted enough resources to it yet. We need additional staff to do, for example, a dedicated person who can just focus on media outreach. We don't have someone who's just dedicated to increasing our visibility in newspapers, TV, radio, and so on. Tim Aiken does a great job with that, but he's got about 4 jobs, actually. And so we really need to think about how to dedicate more resources. So from a staff, we really need to strengthen our staff in this area to be more aggressive in terms of marketing. I think we know really what we should be doing. It's really an executional issue and a resource issue in terms of devoting additional staff resources. Now you may remember that I said earlier in my remarks that we did hire in the school nationally recognized marketing consultants this last year to advise us, and we have a report from them. It's going to be very, very useful to us. It's already been useful. In fact, I will tell you that this event today and this State of the School speech that I'm giving was a suggestion by those consultants, those branding and marketing consultants, because they thought this was a great way to reach out not only to students but also to alumni and the business community. So we're here today executing on something that they've already recommended to us. In terms of students and alumni, I think we've got a lot of momentum there as well. We've got great support in terms of our class gift, and we've got very high proportions of our graduates participating in the class gift campaign and in our alumni activities. And so I think it's really a scale-up task. It's a task, it's a question of devoting additional resources to provide the infrastructure for our alumni to be more visible and to be even more successful ambassadors for us. Should we take one more, Anya? Last question, last comment question. Here's a gentleman right here. Thank you.
Hi, this is James J.B. Ling from first-year student. And I actually very exciting and about the progress the school has already done. And also I want to know something specifically. What's our, our school is going to be successful not just in California, not just in America, but globally. And what's the campaign and the brand building strategy for our school to be globally top schools in the next few years?
Very good. Yeah, it's another great question. Comes back to the remarks I made earlier about the global emphasis and international visibility. And I'm getting busy on that already. And first place I went was China. I have some significant familiarity with China. This is an amazingly vibrant market. And so that's the first place I went, was China. Spent 2 weeks there, as I said before. And just a little more detail about my trip. So as I mentioned before, I was at China Europe International Business School. I was at Peking University. I was at Tsinghua University and Fudan University. So those are, Peking and Tsinghua, probably undeniably the top 2 universities in China. And their business schools are also very good as well. Fudan is probably in the top 5, maybe. And China Europe International Business School is one of the leading business schools, a standalone business school in China. So that's sort of where I'm trying to get a toehold. And I had an extraordinarily warm reception there. It was really amazing. I thought that I would go there and get a lukewarm reception. These schools already have collaborative arrangements with Harvard, Stanford, MIT, Kellogg, and so on. But I was really, I was amazed. They were incredibly receptive to a deeper partnership with UC Davis Graduate School of Management. So as I said before, we already have 4 memoranda of agreement that are being developed. Those have already been shipped off to our partners at those universities, and Jim Stevens is shepherding us through that process. And so they basically said on the spot that they would have a collaborative arrangement with us, and we would begin with the student exchange. And that's probably the best way to start the relationship. We also talked about some collaborations in terms of possible non-degree executive education activities, and they were very, very receptive to that as well. So it's an interesting strategic positioning task for us, for the school, and for me to try to connect with them in a way that differentiates from all these other partners. And one of the things I talked about was our momentum in the area of clean tech. So Davis really has an amazing footprint in environmental studies and clean technology and so on. And I said, look, you know, we're better than Stanford or Berkeley or Harvard in that area, and you should partner with us because of that. And they said, okay. They just sort of took me on my word. I had all kinds of evidence to suggest, to support my claim. But so that's an example of a kind of a strategic approach that we're taking, and I was very, very encouraged by the reception. China, of course, is just one example. I have a lot of experience in Europe, so I'm very interested in exploring that. India, of course, is very important, and there's lots of other geographical regions, and so I feel like we're just getting started in ramping up our efforts on that. So that's a very good comment and question. Okay, thank you very much. Delighted to be with you today, and thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts with you.
That concludes today's formal program, and depending on how my performance review goes, I hopefully will see you at future events at the Graduate School of Management. I wanted to say congratulations again to Dr. Jack Gill. He's been a tremendous asset to the school, and thank you very much. And thank you also to Dean Currall, and happy birthday.